I would like to share with you today's news at CNN and other good news about Church, Catholic Church, Vatican. Every generation always hear some good news about church. Throughout history, they always managed, this Vatican always managed to be on the wrong side in history. They were supporters of slavery until that no one wanted to be associated with slavery. My gosh, condemned Galileo for 300 years. Just a decade ago, they retracted the condemnation. They decided that indeed the world is not the center of the universe. And oh my God, finally, after more than a century, the Big Bang is proven. They accepted, yes, indeed, there is Big Bang. And thank God, Pope finally came up with wisdom that indeed there is a global warming caused by human pollution. Unbelievable. In my previous video, there is no hope from Pope. I talk about these issues of physiology. Basically, they say the things that known by us either for thousands of years or centuries ago or about a decade ago. Everyone knows, even children. But when Pope says, he discovered the wisdom. He's a great guy. Now, let's listen.
Two bombshell books released today portray the Vatican as rife with financial scandals and extravagant spending. They're based on leaked internal documents that reveal sensational misuse and mismanagement.
Oh, really?
Of Vatican finances.
What a surprise!
One book titled Austerity alleges the Vatican's real estate holdings total 2.7 billion euros, more than 7 times than what is declared in financial reports. The book Merchants in the Temple alleges only 20% of Peter's pence, the charitable contributions made to the church by Catholics around the world, are used to help the poor, with much of the remainder paying costs at the Holy See. The Vatican is now considering legal action against the authors. This week, ahead of the publication, 2 Vatican insiders were arrested, both suspected of leaking the confidential documents to journalists. CNN religion commentator and host of the Sunday Mass, Father Edward Yuksel. Welcome, Father.
Hey, Carol.
So what do you make of these books?
Well, hard to believe we have intrigue at the Vatican once again. It sounds like a Dan Brown novel, doesn't it?
Pedophiles. Pedophilia. Any company committed a fraction of the crimes against children as these guys did, they would be out of business. But somehow they manage. They were with Mussolini. They supported fascism. They got away with it. You look at just internet. There's list of just a small list of what this church has done throughout history. Corrupt. Imagine in Vatican there are about 800 people. Their average income more than $300,000. What do these people do? What is their job? What is their service to humanity? Nothing. Big lies. This guy never in his life worked. Like a mechanic fix a car. Or serve like someone in a restaurant serving food. Or cooking food. Or cleaning homes. Or tutoring children. Good things, not stupid things. Not lies. Not superstitions, but sciences. No. All these guys do, manufacture lies about God, and throughout history oppress people who say the truth. Always stand for the wrong side, they manage that. And they change. Takes very long It's like huge 18-wheel truck rotates, even worse than that. The maneuverability is kind of slow, but they do sometimes just up to the... Be quiet.
In the sense that,
be quiet.
In 2003, Pope Francis
be quiet.
had a study commission on finance.
He doesn't stop.
Some of these abuses.
I think I kept it longer.
Obvious then, and he wanted
we have to listen.
The reform. So some of what we're hearing right now has been well known. Yes, it's more documented now.
It has been a while on it, therefore.
New revelations.
It is
and Pope Francis is about reforming the very thing.
Well, a couple of things really shocked me.
It's not reformable.
One of the books where you actually...
If he wants to reform, he needs to destroy the whole Vatican and give up becoming a pope.
No, you don't pay to become a saint. The canonization process by which the church has to do the investigation, all the administration, fly to the different regions where the saint lived, interview people.
They manufacture saints. A machine that manufactures lies, and in the name of God they make up saints. $500,000 for each saint.
Pay the expenses?
Those who make up fabricate saints, while they are fabricating, well, it takes a lot of work to conjure lies.
We really want to spend all this money just to say, yes, someone was holy and lived a virtuous life. Is it excessive? And I think
Shame on
that's a
you.
good question to ask.
Shame on you.
The other disturbing thing is that
what Jesus would say about you, or Moses. We'll read some verses from the Bible.
Seems harsh.
Yeah, well, it is against Vatican law to leak documents.
Let me go get my verses.
That is internal.
I printed,
Now,
I forgot
course,
that.
Whether or not it's a good thing or a
You
bad
listen to
thing.
this guy, he's a spinner.
Remember, like,
He's
the butler
spinning.
was arrested too. That he had taken documents from Pope Benedict's drawer without any permission. That seems more egregious to me than simply leaking documents that are part of the meeting. But remember, some of the concerns here are quite confounding, I think, when you look at it. One of the ones you mentioned about the Peter's pence. So it sounds kind of shocking. Gee, only 20 or 30% of what we give actually goes to the poor. But most charitable organizations, Carol, will tell you that unfortunately a lot of what they bring in is administrative expense. It's spent on administration.
You are worse.
The people who need
You should
Unfortunately,
you're supposed to be different.
And there's a lot of cost.
You are collecting in the name of God, and you are eating $8 out of the $10 given to the poor.
The Vatican is not the only
Suckers!
organization that pays administrative costs.
Because you put this square here, white square.
Leave it there, Father Edward. Thank you so much. Still to come to the newsroom. You're welcome.
This is another another evangelical liars. Oh gosh, let me go get the. I'm a little bit, you know, it is so upsetting. I am angry. You should be angry with these guys too, because all they do in the name of God, they basically steal your money. Like Jesus when entered the temple, so Pharisees in the name of God collecting money. Hypocrites, you hypocrites. You turn God's house into robber's den. There are many verses in the Bible. I'm going to show you, I forgot to print some of the papers. I want to just share with you some. Can you stay here for about 10 seconds? Wait for me. Well, these are verses from the Bible and Old Testament. I want you to just read, because if I read it will take too long. I want to keep it. And let me read a verse from my translation of the Quran. This is Quran, a Reformist translation. Me and two of my colleagues together with it. And okay. By the way, I am not a clergyman. I don't make my living from religion, nor from my religious books. I don't make money out of them. And therefore you should know about that, and you are welcome to investigate. Now, here is a verse in chapter 9. Basically, so-called Muslim scholars, Sunni and Shia, they have nothing to do with Islam, really. They are two different religions, Sunnism and Shiism, because they follow fabricated books called Hadith and Sunnah, which I expose in this book, Manifesto for Islamic Reform. And it is also here in the appendix. I inserted this one there. It has extensive table comparing the teaching in the Quran with the teaching of Sunnis and Shiites. Also, this was about 25 years ago. I wrote this book. It is 19 questions for Christians, but you need to update it. It needs to be updated with 2 letters I have written to popes, the previous pope and this pope. And those letters, lengthy letters, but very good questions to Pope. And it is at 19.org. And interestingly, if you are one of those guys, one of these people who work in factory manufacturing lies, and when they get power, they manufacture also oppression and wars and burning people at stake, like burning Tyndale, remember, Hypatia, many others. And they are always infallible. Anyway, and it is banned in your institution, Catholic institution in the United States, free country, even a college. I know that Catholic colleges, private colleges, censor my website because I am a child in the crowd. I say the Pope is naked. Don't be duped by these media, this fanfare about these guys who are in ostentatious clothes, as if Jesus sat in a golden armchair, walk around with people around him, respecting him, in fancy clothes and colorful and color hair. I am different than you, I am holier than you. I can forgive you in the name of God. Who are you? You are the most sinful guy on earth. You, the guy previously who was talking, spinning around, trying to justify why they should eat $8 out of $10 given. How they are justified in spending $500,000, getting $500,000, $500,000 for manufacturing another lie. That this guy was a saint. Some of those they call saints, they were the worst guys on earth because they were siding with oppressive governments, with slavery, with racism, with fascism. Therefore, I have no respect to anyone. If this Pope is a good guy, the new one, which seems personally good, if he's really honest, personally good, he will say, I declare Vatican is the most corrupt, is the worst institution on earth, because its whole job is to get people's money, spend a fraction of it for show off on the poor, and the rest of it spend on us for lavish life, for doing nothing except manufacturing lies in the name of God. The biggest lie is Trinity, which doesn't exist even in your Bible. It contradicts the first commandments, only one God. But they somehow, 300 years later, in Nicene Conference, they were able to conjure that lie, which you killed Hypatia for that. Newton, for example, or Newton rejects this. Jefferson rejects this. It's stupid because it insulted human intelligence, logic, mathematics. Anyway, the verse in the Quran, 34. I will finish with this one. O you who acknowledge, many of the scholars and priests consume people's money in falsehood, and they turn away from the path of God. Also include mullahs, rabbis, all of them. Those who hoard gold and silver and do not spend it in the cause of God, give them news of a painful retribution. Cause of God in the Quran is mentioned to help needy people, poor people. Peace. Take care.